Hello, crafty friends. Welcome to Stamp and Create with Beth. I'm Beth Roy, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today is Monday, February 17th, 2025, and we are going to just have a little bit of time creating together. So I'm just pulling up my video. If you pop in, say hi. If you watch the replay, let me know you watch the replay. I'm going to grab something really quick. Okay, so hello, Joan. Good morning to you. So today, I want to do something a little bit different. Let me show you what I've been doing. I have been on this latte art kick. You guys know I love coffee. I don't really drink a lot of lattes, and I can honestly say I have never had a latte with this art on top, this beautiful coffee, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I wanted to share with you how I'm making these cards. So let's just look at some that I've made, and I'm going to tell you, I have not finished the inside. That is going to on my list today. So for those of you keeping track of my of my goal to make sure I have completed cards. Oh, happy President's Day to you too. Yeah. My son is home as well. No school today, which it's very cold here. Very, very cold. You might hear my heater running. My stamp room gets very cold because I'm in the basement. So, but yes, so we're, this is an off day for us as well. And I'm just kind of enjoying it. To be honest, I had big plans for the weekend, and yesterday it snowed and snowed and snowed, and we stayed in, watched movies, and napped all day. So I didn't accomplish a whole lot of things. But so let's see. So I posted this one for you to see, and here's some of the other ones. So I showed these the other day on my live, but they weren't finished yet into cards. Oh, I love these. Now, these are all, this one's stamped. The image is stamped, but these are all made with just my Stampin' Blends. So here's another one I stamped. I'm going to tell you the difference between these two. My son requested a mitten. I asked him what he thought some of my latte art should be, and he requested a mitten. Hey, Vicki, good morning. You can't get it to come up on your computer. That's so weird. You should just, now, I will say this. If you're on your computer and you open up Facebook and it has not refreshed, maybe it's using a saved image to pull up the page, it's possible that my new things might not show. So you basically clear your history. That's called clearing your cache. And see if a new refreshed version will come up. I'm on my laptop as well to view and see comments, and I go right to the page. It shows in my little profile pic, has the red line around it that says I'm live. You can actually click on that, I think, and it'll pull up the video. But it should be the very first thing you see on my page. So if you're not seeing that, you may need to refresh or log out, log back in, and clear those cookies. Okay, so that it's not just a saved prior version of my page. So I'm sorry that that's happening. That's the best I can do. I'm not super techie, but I do know that. So this was the first one that I made. This one I used some white gel pen on as well. We can do whatever today. I'm going to show you some things that I've learned about doing this, but I have had a ton of fun coming up with just different ideas. And I searched Pinterest. Some of you may have seen my coffee board. I made a new board. I just wanted to see fun coffee quotes. I love coffee. Coffee is kind of my thing. I have one right now with me. So I wanted to show you, and you'll notice my I'm really sorry. I didn't get a new sheet, and I have this page of just mess here. So I hope you'll forgive me for that. But as you can see, I've used my favorite colors. So there's a lot of Pool Party and Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. But I've had a lot of fun doing this. So what do you guys think? I think this might be one of my favorites. I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite. So I've had all these. I'm going to leave that one out. Yeah. So you'll notice some are lighter and some have darker. And basically, hey, you found me. Great. I'm glad. There's some different ways to do it. And I want to show you some of these texture stamps because I just happened to go digging through and I happened to find an old stamp and I was like, oh my goodness, it's perfect. So remember what I said about looking through what you already own. So this was a celebration set from I don't know when, but I remember getting it because I love textures and this was something you could earn free. So this is not a current celebration thing that you can earn free, but it had this splatter. And you guys know I love texture, I love splatters. So a lot of times I keep stamp sets that have some of these fun things in them. And how ironic that it has this splatter stamp and it looks very much like the Latte Love coffee splatter. So they work really well together. So after I figured that out, I started using this one too. So you're going to see, this is in the last chance. And I hope we have a new coffee coming. You guys know how much I love coffee and I love coffee stamps. And so I'm really hoping a new one comes. I need to move a few things. Sorry, my coffee's going to get right in the mix here for a second because I need to get some things off my desk from the other day when we were crafting and then speak. Okay, sorry if you saw my head and all that. All right, so are you guys ready to jump in and see how I created this? Trying to figure out where to stick my coffee so it's not in the way. Good morning, Carol. Thanks for joining us. Good morning, Dad. Thanks for hanging out. Carol, this, I'll be honest, let me show you the other side because I usually try to have a clean sheet when I video. I mean, you know, we all like to look perfect, but it is literally a grid paper from Stampin' Up. The other side has the Paper Pumpkin logo on it. So I'm not sure if these are still available. You can buy grid paper in a big pack. Usually I have the other plain grid paper that's in my online store. And I just literally flipped this over because I was trying to keep one side clean for videoing. I'm not very good. I use my grid paper until there's like no spaces left on it, and I use both sides. Now, if you buy the grid paper that comes in a big pack out of my store, I love it because it's a good space. It actually fits the glass mat well. You don't need it with the glass mat, but I use it for filming because of the glare. I've used it to protect my surface since I've been stamping many, many, many years. But it has, one side is the Imperial, one side's the metric. So it's a wonderful investment. Yeah, I use my paper till there's literally no open spots. So it just looks really pretty because I've been stamping off on it, right? Oh, yay, Carol. Yes, me too. I have the grid papers we got for on stage. I have all the different grid paper packs. I think I had one pack that maybe had, it was like a Christmas theme. I didn't like that one as well. I felt I didn't like the spaces all colored in. But yes, so if you have this, that's what I have. It's just turned over and stamped off on, so it looks all pretty. Good morning, Christy. Good morning, Maggie. Thanks for joining me. So, some of you guys are coming in late. I'm going to show you how I made these latte coffee cards. And you can pair it with any greetings you have. Basically, I was inspired. I love this set and I loved these little stamps, but I wanted it to be bigger. Okay, so if you have this set, you know that this is not real big. So I wanted something that I could really kind of put my own touches on. Okay, and so I used my dies. So are you guys ready? I hope you're gonna do this today. So I grabbed out my Stylish Shape dies. You can use any circle die that you have. I even thought about using the deckled circles that recently retired. We also have a wonky circle set that's brand new in the online store. So whatever you have, if you have the old circles, whatever you have. I'm just tracing this big die right here. Okay. So I don't know if coffee cups come in. I'm not really familiar with all the different ways they can come, but if there was a square one, you could use a square. We do have some rounded rectangle dies. Use whatever you have, okay? I'm using it to doodle, to trace. So this is, I traced the outside and the inside of the die. Then this little handle, I just freehanded and I kind of copied, you know, how this was drawn. So I just freehanded it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, Carol, you're from Michigan along the, ooh, nice. Well, thanks for joining us. We're happy to meet you and have you along with us. So this is what I did. Now, on these, let me grab, where's one of them at? With this 2, right? I wanted kind of 2 mugs. I'm making these cards because I want to send some cards out to catch up with some friends. Okay, that was the purpose of this. I'm actually going to give these away. They're not all for me. So yes, this is a labor of love. But I'm doing that, and I think it was the 3rd size. Yes. So I label my dies. Number 1 is the largest. So if you hear me say that, number 1's the largest. I use number 3 for these smaller cups. This might be similar to the stamp. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention. Let me see. Oh, it's a little bit bigger. So, but I just wanted to hand draw it. Okay, so there's where that came from. Okay, so think about what dies you have that you can trace to make these, to make cool things on your cards. Okay, so let me scoot a couple things out of the way here. I do have some already done, and I'm going to admit, I have been coloring so much that I used ivory blends, and mine are almost dead. I have 2 going at the moment, trying to squeeze every bit of life out of them. But I also used the Natural Tones 200 and 500, and I used Pecan Pie. So if you don't have blends, you can still do this. You're just going to need maybe some watercolor pencils or colored pencils or something to add in your design. Now, I did tell you, I wanted to tell you about these 2. So what I did was, a lot of times I drew my circle, okay, and then I added in my handle, and I colored some of that ivory on so that I could see where I wanted the cream, okay, where I wanted the design. Because when I did it this way, I colored all the coffee, if you will, and then I was basically doing where I use this marker and I push that color through my paper, and it uses a lot more of this ink. So I don't recommend doing it that way. If you want to add a little extra when you're all done, you know, you might want to do that, or use the color lifter to kind of push some through and then add this color. But I kind of did it backwards. So I've tried it both ways, and I recommend mapping out where you want the lightest color first, so you don't use as much of your ink, okay? If you are using colored pencils, you can easily erase that. So this is kind of what I did, but let me get a sheet and we'll trace some. And because I was running out, I started digging into some of my Copics and other alcohol markers, different colors, to see what else I could use. So we might have to substitute something, and that's okay. Use what you got. So I have a piece of basic white. Actually, I'm going to have two pieces, one for the inside. I have a piece of basic white. It's 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. Okay. And we'll put one aside for the inside. And really what I want to know is, what do you guys want to do today? I can show you the stamping. I do like this. Now, I did mask this and stamp a little extra. This was from the Sentimental Park. It's this flower right here. Or we can do whatever. Now, I did bring in, let me see. I also brought in another retired texture. Let me see where I stamped it. I think it stamped it on this. I used this. I wanted a lot less white, so I used this stamp right here. This was an old artisan texture stamps. So you might look through your textures and see what you have and what you might want to use to put a few things into that white space. And I used all different greetings, but I love that hello there, let's catch up. I just really like that greeting. So, what do you guys think? Do you want to see me stamp something, or do you want to see how I built this? And we can do a snowman. It's snowing today. This one I kind of went a little over the top, but I really like it. Now this one I used white gel pen, and then here's one where I didn't use any gel pen. So you can see the difference. A lot of times when they make these designs, they do use the white foam. So you could use that, or you could use a white colored pencil. Let me see what I have over here. Yeah, so I do have some different pencils. Now on this one, I actually used a Prismacolor pencil, the peach beige over top, to help some of the coffee colors, and I used it on my cup. So I don't know if how well you can see that. Let me hold it up here. Good morning, Mary Jo. Thanks for joining us. So Joan, you want to try the flowers? Now, I'll be honest. The whole reason why I stamped something is because I tried to draw a flower, and I am not an artist. So I tried to draw a flower, and I felt like I just didn't love how it looked. It probably wasn't as bad as I thought it was. You know, we're our own worst critics. That's the truth. But I didn't love it. It was not how I saw it. And when you go on Pinterest and you see some of these latte arts, you're like, wow, how in the world did they make that? So, yeah, so it did. That's where the flower stamp came in. And I thought, well, why not stamp it, right? That's okay. So most of our doodle this morning will be putting in these little coffee swirls and drawing our cup. So let's get started with that. And it's real simple. I just picked where I wanted it on the page. You'll see a lot of my cups are different. Sometimes the handle's at the top, sometimes it's at the bottom, on either side, wherever. Okay, so you've just got to decide kind of where you want that handle and where you want your circle. Oh man. That's never good. Hang on, let me get my die. Sorry, it went flying and went under my table. Don't do that. Okay, so I was just going to stand up, but we just have to decide where we want our handle. And you also kind of want to decide what greeting you want. So if we do the hello there, it's kind of big. Here's the hello there. And so you want to decide if I'm going to put it here, do I want the handle up here? Because I'm trying to make it one layer. So you can pop it up like this, but I really like kind of the one layer look of that. And this was my original. I did a lot less background texture stamping and a lot more messy coffee. So today is St. Patrick's Day. Well, I think you're a month early, Vicki. But you're right. It is the 17th. Now you're starting to sound like me. But yes, you could do the 4-leaf clover. I think we actually had a set. So if you have that stamp set, you could kind of copy that. So the first thing we need to choose is kind of where we want it. And I don't overthink it. I just traced mine, and wherever it ended up, then I kind of build around it. So just let go and have a little fun with it. So I'm just going to use a pencil, and I'm going to lightly trace the inside and outside of that circle. It's okay if it isn't perfect. And I will say, I did use kind of an eraser and lighten it a little bit. If you want a light colored coffee mug, you're going to want to do this. I've seen an artist use sticky tack. I don't have any of that, so I'm just kind of lightening. I have a heavy hand, so I'm just using my eraser to kind of lighten that. Oh, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. So, if you're planning ahead, like what was said, you could do some like a pot of gold. You could do some themed things for holidays coming up. So I'm going to draw my handle up here. I'm going to leave this down here for my greeting. And I'm just, like I said, I followed this kind of idea. And so I will have to erase part of it because, well, I have a heavy hand. So I came out a little ways and I just made a curved rectangle to go along with my cup. And then I made a curved line like this and then added some shading here. Now I will come back in with my eraser. Okay, so just freehand it. It's okay. It's okay if it's not perfect. If you need to trace something, get something kind of that shape and trace it. And I'm just lightening this a little bit, just tapping my eraser on it. If you do like a pale pink cup or you do like a pool party cup, you don't want this line to show. And I will tell you, if you're doing something like, you know, colored pencils or I think even under the Stampin' Write markers, it erases. But if you color over top of this line with a blend or alcohol marker, it's there. It does not erase. So that's why I'm just kind of lightening it. I think I'm going to do a dark coffee mug anyway. So for me, it doesn't matter. But if you wanted to do a pool party or like a petal pink or a pale yellow, whatever color you want, you'll just want to make sure that you kind of lighten those pencil lines. I'll lighten this a little bit more. So I'm just using it as a guide. And I'm probably going to lighten them where you guys on the camera can barely see them, but I will be able to see them. Okay. Now we're going to start creating I'm so excited. So, okay, so we've had a clover, flowers. What do you guys think? I will tell you, the mitten one was extremely hard for me to draw, so I have no desire to recreate that one. I did a tree. I thought that was fairly easy, but I don't know if it came out exactly how I loved it, or how I wanted it. I did a heart on this one. I did a snowflake. Now, on the snowflake, I actually did it where I colored the coffee and then used my marker to push the color through. And I'm telling you, it uses a ton of your ink. So, you can do that, but I don't know that I want to do a big one. So, what do you guys think? Snowman, or do you want me to stamp something? And we could do a clover. That is an excellent idea. You might, be making some cards ahead to, save up to send. And I'm a coffee lover, so I kind of like this design. I think it's fun, and it can be used for anything. You could make these as happy birthday cards if you wanted, and put whatever image in the middle of your coffee. So I've seen flowers. Let me think of what else can we put? You want kind of an open design. And like I said, I've been drawing snowmen. Ooh, I have an idea. I haven't tried this. A bunny. Ooh, I wish I had a good bunny. You're working on Easter, Vicki? Okay. Flowers, bunny. So I don't even know if this set's still available. I'm really sorry that I am not keeping up super well. But this is probably one of my favorites. This little bird here, and these are big enough and they're open that you could stamp this, and you don't have to stamp the legs. You could stamp a little bird and some leaves in there and make a little bird. I love birds. That's my other favorite thing besides coffee. I don't know. Me pick. Okay. You guys know I'm so indecisive. So, let me try to show you a couple. So I'm going to bring in one that I already have colored, and I'm going to put some color on here. So this is ivory, okay, and this comes in a double pack with the bronze. Let me see if I got, okay. And I'm just going to scribble this on, okay. I like to put my base color down. You can see I've been using it so much. It's running out. Don't worry about that. Just get it on there. We're going to color over a lot of it. But I feel like this helps me kind of map out where I want some of this color. Now this is just my way. You could draw it all in with pencil and make it really, really light. And, color over top. So, this one I haven't as erased as well. I'm just going to leave it. Something else I do is where my circle and my handle meet, I erase that line. I don't want any line there at all. Okay, thank you for the love. So I brought in two. I'm going to show you how I built the snowman, and then we'll do a stamped one. I feel like they're both two different styles, and how they look in the end is very different. So let me start with the snowman here, and I have to decide, is it going to be a landscape card or a portrait card? Because the direction I draw my image matters, right? You don't want them upside down. So when you're drawing it this way and you're freehanding it, you have to kind of construct your image in reverse, if that makes any sense. So I want to make sure I'm leaving my ivory parts uncolored. So I'm drawing the outside. Okay. And I'm just going to draw a big snowman. So I'm drawing the head and the body. Okay. And then the eyes. And I am using the brush tip, the nose, and mouth, and some buttons. And you don't have to fill it in, okay? When you have a latte image, it's kind of swirled with all the colors. Now this one I added an arm, and I later on didn't do that. So let me pull up one like this, okay? So, and I did leave a little space like that. Then I kind of came in and drew around it like this to leave those creamy areas, like where it's not mixed. Okay, so I'm just freehanding, and I go right up to that edge, and I'm using the 500 right now to do this. So that's my lightest brown that I'm using. You could use whatever colors you want. But this is just a tad lighter than the pecan pie. They work really well together. And this is, in the Natural Tones collection, this is the medium. So if you're looking to see what markers you want to buy, it's the medium Natural Toned blends. So the hardest thing I had was, okay, I'm going over that line, but I had to remember, I'm just trying to kind of fill in the space, and I want to leave the creamy part. So I felt like I had to think kind of backwards. And I'm not worried about if I'm getting the circle perfect. It's a hand-drawn image, almost like if you watercolored something. And of course, some of this is going to get filled in down here. I'm not worried about that button I drew. So I'm just building up my color, and I'm not coloring all of it in, okay? It looks kind of messy, doesn't it? So that's how he starts out. Then I go to my light pecan pie, and I am using the brush tips. You use whatever end you're comfortable with. And we'll see, this one, I think my ends are getting kind of used. I'm a heavy hand, and I'm just adding in some of that color. This one might need, this one's dying. That's okay. So I'm adding in some of that. And then we'll go to the dark pecan pie. So I'm just going darker and darker, adding in different swirls of coffee. I really don't have like an exact science here. I'm just kind of putting it where I want. And I do turn my image around and around. So if you have questions while I'm doing this, pop them in the comments, okay? Because sometimes I just get going and I might not explain something that you have a question about. So I use my darkest color. I'm using 200. You could easily, this is the deep natural tones, okay? It has 200 and 100. You could easily use the deep medium. It has 300 and 400. So whatever you have. I just wanted a real dark brown. The 100 and the 200 remind me of the early espresso, which is the ink that I'm using for the greeting. I'm just going around the edge. That would be where my darkest coffee is. And then I'm going to add some dark spots, like it's been swirled around to create this design. And I want some darker areas. It might be too dark. And I just keep adjusting it till I like it. He might be more like a zombie snowman. Now, sometimes I will come back in with some of that ivory, so don't worry about messiness. Okay, now I'm going to take that 500, which is from the medium, and I'm just going to kind of go back over all that coffee and just kind of blend it. And I'm okay if an area gets too dark. I'm going to use that ivory. You don't want to do your whole design where you're pushing it, because it uses a lot of your ink. And I'm just kind of trying to make it uneven. I don't want it to be too perfect. What do you think? Now, I'm going to come in with the ivory. And I'm just going to kind of go over some of that. And I'm just holding it down and letting it push some through. And you can even kind of smear this edge over here and make your cream seem like it's darker. Okay. So it's darker where the two colors meet. The more you add layers of your blends, the more it builds up that color. Sorry, I think I'm shaking my camera. So, sorry about that. Now, let me show you how you push it through. Okay. So, I want a little dot up here. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going around in a circle. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And it makes a lighter spot there. You can also take your blend and just hold it. And it's going to push that through. And I'm going to show you the back side here in a minute. So see that dot that it created? Now look at the back. So when I didn't have to do that there, I didn't use as much ink. I should have left one of my cards undone so you could really see. And then if you want a small dot, you just keep dabbing it. Don't make a big dot. Don't leave your blend on there. So kind of dab it and let it work its magic. And then you can always go back and add more. So the ones that I drew in, that I didn't color over, you can see are a little more uniform. And the ones that I'm trying to kind of push through have a fuzzy edge. So it's definitely a different look. I don't really like how my eyes turned out. So I'm going to redo those. And you just keep going over and over the areas that you want lighter or to blend a little bit. And I'm going to redo the eyes here. I didn't really like how they came out. So I'm going to do a circle with a circle. I want it. And that was light pecan pie. And now I'm going to put some dark in like this. And it's not perfect, and that's okay. It's a coffee. It's coffee art. I'm going to lighten the nose just a little bit. So that's how I did the draw it yourself. It can look really messy. You can put a lot of lines in. You see here I created some areas and then I wanted more of that kind of creamy color. So I put more in. You can also use, let me find my gel. I have gel pens. I have paint pens. You can also use a gel pen to kind of add some of that back in. So you can use your gel pen. And on the other one, I'll show you how I used the colored pencil. And I like to do little dots. So you can, you can add in as much as you want doing that way. Okay. Any questions on that one? Now I haven't done the outside color. That's okay. I'm going to put this one to the side. I want that white to dry anyways. If you use gel pen, it does take a second to dry. And on this one, we're going to stamp. So I have to decide, do I want it to be landscape or portrait? I'm going to do this one as portrait. So let's have a little vote so you guys can kind of be invested in this card. I know you said you pick, but do you want to see this little bird or do you want to see this flower right here? So this is the flower. I haven't done the bird at all. That would be completely new. What do you guys think? Now, I only have 2 colors that I've been stamping in. I have Pecan Pie ink and Early Espresso. Again, you can use whatever browns you have. So, you know, if all you had was the pecan pie or the crumb cake, you could easily use that. So let's have a little, so it would be this flower or this bird. Ooh, I see a lot of bird votes. Thank you for the love. I appreciate that love. Okay, I think we're going to go with the bird. Has more votes, so I'm sorry. Maybe I do have one off here to the side I could stamp the flower on, just if you want to see how I stamp it. Let me take that. So I got this little bird out. There's lots of birds in that bird's eye view. This happens to be one of my favorites, so that's what I'm going to use. Use whatever you have. Okay. So I've picked him up. Make sure he's clean. There's something on my block here. Sorry. There we go. So I'm going to stamp him in the Early Espresso. So if you don't want it as dark, you could use the pecan pie. After all, we are using the pecan pie blends. And on this one, I told you I used some colored pencil, so I'll show you how I use some of my Prismacolor pencil to add in. Now, if you have the Stampin' Up! Watercolor pencils, you could use those on top as well. Stick this over here. So I don't want his feet, so I'm going to hang him off my ink pad here. And I'll wipe it off if I get any on there. So I just want his body. I don't want the little feet on there. And then I'm going to just stamp it. Into that cream that I colored. And I think I'm going to add a few leaves. So instead of doing a lot of swirls with the ivory, I think I'm just going to add in some leaves into this coffee if we have room. Let me see. So this has a branch and some leaves. I really like this style. So we're kind of using this to help us doodle. And again, if you don't want them this dark, you could stamp off and then stamp. I don't know if I'm going to have any room. Maybe put them up here. So it just kind of maps in some. And I know I have another set that had leaves kind of like this. I don't remember what bird set it was. So use whatever you have. I'm going to take this little one here. I'm going to hang off my ink pad, stamp off, and I'm going to put one down here. See how I did that? So I partially inked my stamp set. Okay, so now, and I did it by stamping off, it's lighter than my bird, but that's okay because we can use our markers to darken that area. So those are just some ideas. Now we're going to start coloring in with our blends the same way we did for our snowman that we built, only we're going to use our stamped lines as our guides. And I don't want to color inside here, or if I do a little bit, I'm going to do it the lightest color. So again, I'm going to start with that 500. You can use whatever end you're comfortable with. And I'm going to start kind of building my coffee colors up. Just going to color around. So if you're nervous about drawing, you can use this method to kind of stamp in your design. And honestly, I'm not worried about it being perfect. I'm not worried about coloring perfect. It's, you know, it's the idea is to be kind of messy. And maybe we'll draw in a little area here. I'm not worried about that circle. If it's not perfect, it's okay. Just trying to get the color on there. Now, I think I am going to color on some of the bird. Hey, Deb, thanks for tuning in for just a bit. Yeah, we're doing some latte coffee cards today, so thanks for tuning in for a minute. I'm just going to color. You can see I've been using these markers a ton, and they're kind of running out on me. That's okay. I'm going to color in some of this. Like that. Now, let me go to my next darkest color. Sometimes I jump ahead. Let me show you. Sometimes I do it this way. I go to my darkest color. And I'm going to start adding that in. And I like to go around the edge with it because far away from our cream is going to be the darkest coffee. It's it doesn't have any cream mixed in with it. I can't see my line real well, but so I'm going all the way around my edge like this. And I'm just adding in some of the dark. So I've been really messy on purpose, okay? Now I'm going to go to my dark pecan pie. And I'm going to go over where I put all of that dark and extend some of it out. So I'm just layering my colors here. And you'll notice I'm not doing every spot because I want the coffee to look kind of swirled. But I also want it to be kind of smooth. And I think I'm gonna color in that little beak. And I'm just gonna work my way down to back to my 500 color. So this is light pecan pie. Trace around my leaf here. And maybe even do a little more color on the wing. Now I'm going to come in with the 500 again. I'm going to start smoothing those areas where I didn't leave them the cream colored. And now I'm going to come in with the ivory again and kind of go over those areas that I want them to be a little blended. And if you want it a little further, then you're going to push some of that color through. So I'm going around the edge here. So you can see some of it's messy, it's very mixed. And there's our coffee art. Now, I told you on my other one, pull this one in for a second. So on this one, you can see I added some details and I used a Prismacolor pencil. So if you have the Stampin' Up! Watercolor pencils, you can use those as well. I think I put mine away. We don't have a creamy color. That's why I pulled out some of my other supplies, but we do have a white. So if you want to use the white pencil, you can. We also have this crushed curry pencil. Let me try it. Let me try some of these. So you can use this pencil on top to help kind of highlight some of your areas instead of the white gel pen. So this is makes it kind of subtle. Maybe brightens it a little bit. So let's see what this looks like on top. So this is a crushed curry pencil. I like it. And I'm just really lightly going around the edge and kind of adding in maybe some swirly details. Oh, I like this color. Okay. So this was the Stampin' Up! Watercolor pencils, but you can also use like this Prismacolor. I like this color. It's called Peach Beige. And you can kind of go on top of your blends and help fill in some color, lighten some areas, maybe create a little swirl. Into your coffee. Okay, so you can add pencils on top. I don't know if you knew that was allowed, but it is. There's an artist I follow, and she does this quite a bit, and I've really learned a lot from her. Ooh, good idea, Joan. Joan said you could use it in the night sky with stars, the moons, or for a witch or for Halloween. Yes, there's a ton of things you can do with this, and it's so fun. And it all started with tracing our dies because I wanted an extra large coffee cup. Okay, so now we have to decide what color. So I've used Pretty Peacock. This is Pretty Peacock, Lost Lagoon. This is Blackberry Bliss. I did this one for Deb. I don't know if she's still on, but she had suggested Highland Heather. That is a color I literally never use. So, as you can see, I usually pick mostly teals, but I'm going to let you guys pick my bird cup color today. So what do you think? Are you thinking teals, purples, blues? Just say something general, and I'm going to grab some color. Grab out some colors. So thank you. I love all the ideas. So we've had St. Patty's Day. We've had Halloween. You could literally make this for everything with any images you want. That's my favorite thing. Like I said, when I was searching on Pinterest for just some ideas, because I've never received a coffee like this, but I always find images. There's lots of stamps. This is a popular thing. I didn't realize how intricate it could be. Okay, a pink. Red. So we're not doing a ton of blending. I'm using a dark in a few areas and then light. So I'm looking at my pinks. Red. Does anyone else have a vote? So red, we could do a bright red, like a fun red, like Poppy Parade. Pinks, we could do, I have Flirty Flamingo, Melon Mambo, Berry Burst is kind of a purpley pink. We have Bubble Bath. We have the In Color Pretty in Pink. We have kind of a red pink with a moody mauve. Ooh, blue. Maggie's after my heart. You know I love blue. We have lots of blues. You could do a bright fun blue like Azure Afternoon. You could do a dark blue like the Night of Navy. Now, I will tell you, the Misty Moonlight, that is one of my favorite colors, but the Misty Moonlight blends are not like Misty Moonlight inks and paper, okay? We have boho blue. Vicki suggested copper clay. Yeah, that would go really well. So I'm not worried about if it matches my coffee color. I'm just looking for, what color mug would I like? And there's a ton. I would love every color. I might just have to make a rainbow of these cards because I really like them. You could use gray as well. If you just wanted to have a neutral tone on tone, you could use crumb cake. If you wanted a light brown mug and you wanted to make kind of a monotone card. So what do we think? I'm going to pull out some colors of blends and we're going to vote. Okay, so I'm going to try to do a different color than what I've done. So let's do... What was the other one? Okay. Ooh, boho. Okay. So I'm picking out some colors. Somebody said copper clay. This is Azure Afternoon. Here's some pinks. I got two very different pinks. What else? Red. I've got cherry cobbler. And I'll pull out boho. Now, if you love Misty Moonlight, I feel like boho is a lighter color of that. Okay, so I've got some pinks. I've got Melon Mambo. Let me pull out a scrap here. Let's swatch them so you can see. I need something longer. Not long enough. Pull out a long scrap here. Now we have this one too, but this might help you decide. So we're only using 2 colors. There's Melon Mambo. And this one is Pretty in Pink. I have to admit, I haven't even used this color. I have not used that color at all. That tip's had to work out, hasn't it? This is Cherry Cobbler. Azure Afternoon. This is a bright, fun blue. Another blue that I have been neglecting. This is boho. Oops, I think I did those backwards. That's okay. And then we have copper clay. You could almost use copper clay for your coffee color. I mean, it's kind of an orangey brown, but so there's our colors. This is Melon Mambo, Pretty in Pink, Cherry Cobbler, Azure Afternoon, Boho Blue, and Copper Clay. And then here is our little birdie. So what do you think? Now, the only one that I did not use, well, I'm not going to say that because I used Pool Party on some of those. I didn't use this cardstock. I don't have Highland Heather. I used Blackberry Bliss. But a lot of times the blend I used, that's the color I used on the base. So on these, I used either Lost Lagoon, Pool Party, or Pretty Peacock. So I did a range of those colors because they work really well together. These I used the Blackberry Bliss. So we're probably going to use that color cardstock if I have it. I'm not going to say I have all of them because I may not, for the base. So I see a lot of blues, a lot of votes for blues. Okay, so let's pick a blue then. I think I might do my snowman with that pretty pink color. So we have Azure Afternoon or Boho Blue. So that's these two. Let's vote. Let's do 1 Azure Afternoon and 2 boho. Ooh, Pebbled Path would look good too. So let's vote 1 Azure Afternoon, 2 Boho Blue. I just want you to feel a little bit invested in this. Now I already have Boho Blue by me, so let me see if I have Azure Afternoon paper. All right, let's see what you guys came up with. Looks like number 1 is winning. So let's go with that. And I grabbed a bunch of papers out while we were deciding. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going around this edge. Now this is the dark azure afternoon. Just going around the edge where it meets the coffee. Now I made my cup really full, so I do want to tell you a little tip here. If you don't want it as full, you could use, we use this circle to trace the cup. You could come in with this circle after you're done and trace this inside, and it's going to make it look like the cup is less full, and you can have a little more area to color on the inside, kind of like it'll mimic the Latte Love stamp set. Okay, so I'm creating my shadow here for my handle. I think I made it bigger than it originally was. That's okay. And then I'm going to come in with the light, and I'm going all the way to that edge, and I'm just trying to drag it along to create my circle, and I'm going to go over top that color. So not a lot of blending. Oops. I'm just taking my time. You could also bring your die back in if you're nervous about that and it being perfect. Just be careful because blends spread. So even if you're tracing something, it may spread a little bit. I want it to look like it's hand drawn and not uniform. So I am not, I'm not too bothered by the fluctuations of my circle, like that it's not perfect. That is a nice, pretty blue cup. Now I'm going to do my handle. So, what do you think? That is a nice bright blue cup. I love it. Love it. Now, if you wanted to add in some, like I said, you can bring in your pencils. Let me grab, I'm going to grab the watercolor pencils, but you can use Prismacolor pencils or whatever you have. And we have, there's a Night of Navy. There's a Balmy Blue pencil. And I'm just going to come in and add a little bit, let's see, oops, sorry, my camera is shaking. Just some lines over top to give it some texture. I'm gonna use I have a new one. It's just called Blue. So you don't have to do this part. You could color it completely with your pencils. Just adding a little texture in there. And if you want to darken that shadow a little bit, you can use your pencil to get in there and do that. And if you don't like something, the best part about pencil you can erase it. Okay. I kind of went over my edge there. There we go. Thank you. So what do you think? Now we're going to add in our background textures. And I'll color this one later and finish it. We've been hanging out for a while, so I will finish that one up off camera and share it with you. Okay, so this splatter is from that Latte Love. And I'm just inking it up in the pecan pie, and I'm gonna splatter it around. So I'm doing first generation and second generation stamping. And then you don't have to have a lot. Remember this one, this is an old one. It's from that Textures and Frames. I found it in my stash and it goes perfect. So I'm using it as well. I love it because it has some smaller ones. So I'm gonna splatter that there, and then I'm gonna splatter this one down here. Remember, I'm putting my greeting down there with the early espresso. Now, this one also is in the Latte Love. So I like these texture stamps. You could scatter coffee beans around, but I love this little circle. Like you set your cup down. I do that often. I find little circles everywhere. And I'm stamping off on that and then just stamping on. So second generation here of that. So you can do as little or as much as you like. Okay. Then we're going to stamp our greeting. So the most time consuming part of this is really creating that image in the middle, and then your coffee swirls, and how much time you put into that. So it doesn't have to be real perfect. You can do them quick, and just however it turns out is what you get. So I'm going to stamp this down here. Hello, let's catch up. Hello there, let's catch up. That's in that Latte Love. There we go. And I used coffee colors in that stamping, so the blue cup is really where all the color comes in. Now, I picked some blues, and we're going to decide what we want to put it on. So the other cards, I used either this color base or something that went with it very well. So I have 3 blues here. I have Azure Afternoon, which doesn't match the blend exactly. Remember, those are different mediums, so sometimes they don't match exactly. So that would be like a tone on tone. Then I grabbed a blueberry bushel because I thought, ooh, this might work really well with this blue. Kind of lets the cup is our focal point, and it draws your eye into our latte design. And then this is Night of Navy. And I tend to choose the darkest color. So what do you guys think? Do you guys have an opinion? I'm going to go ahead and score these, all of them, and cut them. And we're ready to go. They can go in my stash of card bases that are ready to go. So I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 on that 8.5 inch side. And then I'm going to turn it and cut it. So I have 2 card bases ready to go. What do you guys think? Anybody have an opinion? I already know which one I would choose. That's why I'm asking if you have a different opinion than I do. So you could say light, medium, or dark. Light, medium, or dark. Tone on tone. Okay, so we have dark medium, and light. And I love asking you kind of what you would pick, because this is part of the creative process. So we wouldn't all pick the same thing. Or you might make 3 cards and do 1 of each card base. And that's okay. However you like it is the correct way. All right, I see 2 votes for medium. All right, so we're gonna go with medium. Just know they're all correct, but I would have went dark, so that was my choice. Throw those off to the side, and we are gonna do a little stamping for the inside. So let me just crease this fold, nice. And this is a 1-layer card, so it's really messy on the back. That's okay. We got our cute little bird. Again, if you wanted to add some more in there, you could. If you want to go back and adjust your design. I already showed you how to do the circles on the snowman, so I'm not going to add any of those in. I don't know if I really want the drips. If you did, you could definitely add some drips by taking that ivory blend and just holding it, and it'll push that through and create kind of your drip mark for your cream. But we are just going to leave it as is. So don't forget to give me a heart if you really loved this idea and this technique. Let me know if you shared my video as well. Maybe I'll do a drawing and send one of these cards to somebody in the mail. That would be nice, wouldn't it? So I'm going to bring in my inside piece, and I'm going to do a little splatter on the bottom. Just a little something. I really, really like this older stamp. There. Just a little something on the inside. Oh, thank you. Thank you for my love. And this will go on the inside for your message. So whatever you want to tell your friend, maybe you would like to get together. You haven't seen each other for a while. And you just want to send a little card to say, you've been on my mind. We need to have a lunch date, a coffee date, a chat session on the phone. Maybe you don't live near each other. You just want to have some time set aside to catch up and talk. I don't know about you all, but I feel like I never have time to talk on the phone. So sometimes even that needs scheduled in. Thank you, Joan. So here's the one we completed. Thank you so much for participating and helping me choose some colors. This is very different than what I would have picked, and I'm going to finish this one in pink. I think I'm going to use that pretty in pink, this color. I think I'm going to use that pink color with my little snowman here. I love Mellow Mambo too. It's a really bright, fun color. If you're in my area, we're getting awful weather, and it's going to be super cold this week. So, you know, who doesn't want to get a card in the mail just to kind of have a little pick-me-up? So let me just show you the ones I showed at the beginning. You can stamp them however you like. I've tried so many designs. Of course, I've done a lot of snowmen. I really like these. I did some double mugs. This was my son's idea. And then, of course, that one. And, of course, teals are my favorite. So those are the colors I've been working with. You know, you could use whatever colors you have, whatever your favorite colors are. If you don't have blends, you can do this technique with colored pencils. The watercolor pencils, oops, sorry about that. We have a pecan pie. We have, let me look at the other colors that we have. I feel like we had an early, do we have early espresso pencil? I thought we did. Maybe that was, I don't know. I swore we had. I have a lot of things in here. Maybe I'm just missing it. Yes, we have early espresso and pecan pie. And you saw me use that crushed curry. So you could use those 3 colors. That's, let's see, the crushed curry. So that's using set 1 and 2. There's even a white pencil. You could lightly use the basic black and create all your coffee colors. You're just going to draw in your design before you color it in. So you could use that for sure. And it's going to have a little different look, but that's okay. And just have some fun with it. So, if you have questions, just either comment on the video and tag me or message me. And I will be happy to help you have a little bit of fun with this technique. So, yes, Vicki, we did. I just kept missing it. I was looking over it, and yes, it is in there in assortment 1. But crushed curry is in assortment 2. So if you have those, you can use those. If you have Prismacolor pencils, use whatever you have. Now, if you want to use the Stampin' Write markers, those do not blend and mix, but you could use your water painters to help kind of smudge that if you use watercolor paper. Okay, it won't do well on basic white, which is what I used. You could also use the water painters to apply ink from your ink pads. Again, it's going to have a kind of a choppy look, but it's coffee art, so that's okay. So use what you have and enjoy the process. So thank you all for helping me make this card today. Everybody take care and enjoy your day. If you're getting a day off for President's Day, enjoy your time and happy crafting. If you need any of the Stampin' Up! Products, or you want to grab any of the stamp sets that are in the last chance before they go, you can check those out in my online store at bethroyd.stampinup.net. Thanks, everyone. Take care and have a beautiful day.